Welcome to an incomplete guide to personal growth. We invite you to take a breath and take a listen to our podcast that explores the wonder, humor, challenges, and sometimes those self-inflicted wounds on a journey of personal growth.
Our weekly podcast conversations include stories, resources, and tools that you can incorporate into your daily life. We're the mother-daughter duo of Sydney
And Kelly.
Hi, Mom.
Hey, Sydney.
How are you?
I'm doing well. It's a wonderfully cold day out.
Oh my God, so cold.
So cold. Not as cold as when we're in Pennsylvania, but
close.
cold.
It's close.
It's getting there.
Yeah.
So I wrapped up another year of fantasy football with my
Yes.
family or my nephew's league.
Mm-hmm. And
I won again.
yeah.
I know. And the worst part of it was that it was my nephew and I were matched up for
final.
the championship.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want to lose,
No.
but I really didn't want to win because I feel bad. He's just like such a good guy.
He is.
And
He's
so
a really good
anyway,
guy.
he took it
And
well.
he's a competitor.
And
Like he wouldn't have wanted you to throw anything.
No,
either.
he wouldn't. No,
No.
because he's not that way. So I knew I couldn't throw it, and so you got to put it out there. And I made some changes in my little roster at the last minute, and part of it is you can't do anything about what happens with the players. So
And what's crazy is you were last to pick.
I know I didn't even know some of my players. I was like, I'm just getting whoever's left, and it was.
And you still came.
I
out
know.
on top.
I lost 2 wide receivers during it at the beginning
my
of the season, so I had to pull others in. It was just a weird
was a
season,
mess.
but in the end,
That is
so I sent him a little care package.
Yes.
That's
to make him feel better.
It's a really cool thing called Spoonful of Comfort. We aren't
I love
sponsored,
it.
but it's a
Yes,
great thing.
yes.
So I sent him a little get well package because I knew he was feeling sick. And so, but he took it well. He's so sweet. It was fun. But that's our family.
It is.
Such competitors.
It really is. Such competitors.
So.
That is so.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm
congrats.
motivated by wanting to
I wanted to
win.
win. Yes, that's so good. Nice transition.
How about that?
Into our topic of motivation.
Mm-hmm.
This week to continue to help our listeners start their year off on the right foot, because if you think about now how you want to stay motivated, then whenever you lose it, you'll have some techniques to kind of grab out of your bag and keep going this year.
Yeah.
Okay, so when it comes to motivation, I think more people know about this now. It really was not something that was talked about or very common until kind of more recently.
Mm-hmm.
But there's intrinsic and extrinsic motivation.
Right.
So extrinsic, out there. So that's motivation that comes from things outside of ourselves.
Okay.
Could be money, could be a prize, could be someone saying good job, could be approval, like whatever.
Right. Moving up the ladder, whatever you want to call it.
Intrinsic and inside. So motivation that comes from inside of yourself. Like you feeling good, you feeling proud of yourself, you feeling happy when you're doing something. Intrinsic. And I talk about this, or had it talked to me a lot in my piano pedagogy courses in my undergrad. Talked a lot about how to get students. You sometimes have to start with extrinsic motivation, and then how do you foster intrinsic motivation so they want to practice for themselves and want to practice to be better. And I'm sure, I mean, I think it's very common with teachers, like how do you get your students to be intrinsically motivated? Very common to talk about.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I'm thinking about when you and Lauren are taking piano, you'd get these little goodies.
Yep.
Or you get to choose little prizes and stuff. And then I think what motivated the intrinsic, I think, was different for everybody because, I'm thinking about the recital, how good that feels when you think, wow, I accomplished it and I was able to memorize and play this.
Yes.
And, of course, you'd get little trophies for how many you memorized and different things. But, so it's a combination of that. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah. And then, so with motivation in general, there's like 3 components of it. Okay. So you have your decision to start the behavior or habit, whatever it is, that's activation. Then you have persistence, which is your continued effort towards the goal. And then you also have the intensity. So like the amount of concentration and energy you put towards it. So I think like, the persistence to me seems like the hardest. It's continuing your effort. Intensity, like, and that doesn't have to be intensity. I don't think has to be like constant throughout, because that would burn you out. But it's just like intensity in the sense of, like, do you have enough energy to pull towards the goal? Are you, when you're doing the activity, how concentrated are you about it? And how much effort you put into it. But I think the persistence is more like that resilience aspect of it. Like you're going to keep going. Right. Right. And your intensity may change, but the persistence of it is constant. Right. Yeah. So basically, what we were just talking about, both types of motivation are important. You use a combo, and newer research shows that it's both. Like it's not one or the other. Like a lot of times, extrinsic motivation will be talked down upon because it's like, well, you shouldn't just be motivated by outside things. Like you should, if you don't have the internal, then you're not going to keep
It'll only last for so long, I think.
Yeah, which is true, but there is, it's
right. Oh, you need, there's both and.
And like things that do motivate us to accomplish something are things like autonomy, competence, being good at something, and then relatedness. How does it interact with other people in your life? So like all of those things act with intrinsic and extrinsic, because autonomy, that's an intrinsic thing. It's like I can have my own sense of self. But competence, you want to be good for yourself, but then competence, you can show other people or be useful in a project or, that's extrinsic too. And relatedness, like you internally need to connect with people. And then extrinsically, you're part of a group outside, you're relating to other people. So like to kind of put all this together in one thing. Think about, okay, let's say you have a new hobby you want to do. I'm just going to say pottery because I know a few people that have done it.
Okay.
Let's say you want to be so activation, you decide you're going to do pottery. Your intensity, maybe during your pottery class, you have a lot of concentration and energy towards it. And then your persistence is you go every single week, or at least most of the month or whatever. Yeah. And when it comes to autonomy, you've made it yourself. Yeah, you're in a class, the teacher's probably teaching you, but you've done it on your own. You don't need other people. It just gives you a sense of self. And then competence, you're getting good at. Maybe you use it and make gifts for other people so your competence can be shown. And then relatedness, you're in a class with others who have a similar hobby. You're able to extrinsically, connect with others. And then that helps your intrinsic sense of being and self. So it's like, it's a lot of factors that come into one thing of being motivated to, be good at something or to learn, there are a lot of factors into motivation, and not that everything you do has to tap into all of them. But I think just realizing that there are so many things that factor into it and components. And so it's like I think there doesn't have to be this singular focus on motivation. It doesn't have to be go, 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 go all the time. There are many things that can motivate you.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of stuff. That really is a good example, the pottery one.
Yeah. It's just like there's so many components to it. And not every component is going to hit you home every time. Maybe that day that you're in class, you're like, I don't want to talk to anybody. Yeah. Fine, that happens. But you have this autonomy of I'm making this thing.
Right. Your concentration is
maybe
there.
Another day
you
you're pretty slow moving, but then you go and you connect with somebody and it gives you a little extra. It's like there's so many components to motivation to keep you going. So you have a lot of things that you can draw from. And I want to start with that I hate the quote. Hate it. Sorry. Do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life.
Okay.
And I don't like it.
What does that have to do with
I know.
motivation? Go ahead.
So here's my
Tell me.
fault. You are not going to love everything you do. But sometimes you have to do it anyway. So how do you like being able to find motivation to do something even though you don't love it?
And even if you love it,
You may not love it all the time.
There are parts of every job, of everything. Maybe it's the administration part. Maybe it's the paperwork that you have to fill out, even though you love being a therapist, but there's this other part of it. Maybe it is having to tag money stuff. Maybe it is talking to people. I just want to write. I don't want to, there's something.
There's something that's always going to be work, and you have to find motivation to keep doing it.
Yeah. You can love it. And yeah.
That's why. It's
Because,
just like, you can love something, but everything is going to have something that feels like work.
Something at point
and
one
so
point
it's like,
or another.
I think then to me, that almost that for me can stifle my motivation, because it's like, shouldn't I love doing this? Shouldn't I just love playing piano all the time? Well, no, I don't. But that doesn't mean that I shouldn't push through and keep doing it. You know, I need to find motivation. Like,
Yeah,
so that's
gotcha.
my little tip. So what are some of your thoughts on motivation?
It's interesting you should ask.
Because I feel like you're someone, I will say.
I am motivated, and then suddenly I'll be stuck.
Yes.
I am half the battle is being aware of that. Mm-hmm. Okay?
Because you are, I think, somebody that like, when it comes to, you just like, which is good, but you'll wait for things to come to you.
Yes, I will wait for things to come, but I also know when I need to move.
Yeah.
And part of this, and I did see some research on ADD and motivation. I cannot use that as my excuse.
Yes. Yeah.
I have to know it. What I know, because of my ADD, I didn't even know what that was for the longest time.
Yeah.
But I didn't know I had it, I should say. But what I learned is, you're a really good morning person.
Yeah.
So I motivate myself by doing, what are your hardest tasks? What are your most focused tasks?
Do in the morning.
Let's get them done in the morning. And by golly, when I do that, that motivates me to get my other stuff done during the day. I used to, in college, I didn't know why I did that. Well, I didn't know why. But anyway, I would get all my work, if I had paper due Monday, whatever it was, I would get it done Thursday or by Friday afternoon, so that I had the weekend to myself to play, do whatever I wanted to do.
Yeah.
We won't comment on that. And then Sunday night, I'd just be relaxed, and everybody else would be going crazy trying to get their stuff in.
Get stuff done.
And so that was my motivation.
Yeah.
So I find ways to play with my head to get my motivation done. And just because I don't like something doesn't mean I can't find the motivation to do it.
Right.
And some of my motivation comes from the idea that I'm stuck. And we've talked about before, I feel stuff in my body, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I do not like the way I feel when I get stuck in anger.
Yeah.
Or when I get stuck in
I don't know.
In whatever it may be, any of those emotions, and where it's when I don't like feeling stuck. So that is a motivation to me to go, oh, Kelly, you're stuck. You don't like the way this feels. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, find your way out of it.
How do you find your way out? And that's a whole nother topic. But, it's finding that.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I have found for me, the motivation, because, I like to get up. Well, I don't like to all the time, but I'll try to get up and run, but it's freezing, so I'll wait till it's
warmer.
Till Saturday. I think it's supposed to be 32, so I'll get up and do, or 33 or something. So anyway, my motivation is remembering how I feel afterwards.
Yes.
So, and I think about that as motivation when I'm stuck in something. I think, remember how you felt the last time that you accomplished this?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, and it's kind of like weighing the cost. Whenever we're doing something, there's a cost.
Always. Yeah.
And there's a benefit. And so to weigh that, okay, Kelly, you want to, this is not real, but you want to, well, kind of, you want to write a book, or you want to, I don't know, make something else up. Something you want to do this. So you want to write a book. Okay, what's the cost? Well, you have to set time aside every day, and writers have to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, they may not be motivated, but they have to do it. So you sit and you do this, from what I hear. Yeah. And you the cost of that is time.
Yes.
And some energy.
And some energy, yeah.
And other stuff that you have to do. The benefit of that is how do you feel after that session of writing? How do you feel after you've gotten a chapter done or whatever it is you're writing?
Yeah.
I like to do poetry. How does it feel after you get that haiku done? Oh, it's so fun.
Yeah.
Remember that.
Yeah.
Remember the reward. And that becomes imprinted on your brain over time.
And that's definitely an
Those memories. So you keep doing that and you recall time and again and again.
Yeah.
And you go, oh, I do. And your brain remembers that. And dopamine comes into it.
All that stuff.
All that stuff comes into it. And you begin to go, oh, wow. Okay.
And then I think it gets, like anything, you practice it and it gets easier with time.
Yeah.
To like when you don't feel motivated, it's easier to recall.
Yes, yeah. You're recalling that. And you're going, I do remember how that feels.
Yeah.
And I do remember how I started and it was so slow, but it came to me later. I do remember these things. And so, I mean, I am one that, you know me, I can slow down and kind of.
You really can slow.
Yeah, we've done this a year. And when we started, I'll be honest, Sydney said, you know, I know you, Mom.
Better be working.
We got to keep this going. And so part of that motivation is the collaboration. Right?
Yeah.
You know, and so.
Yeah, it can be good to have somebody else there to.
Yeah, I think it's, and I think that's one of the things to know is if you need people.
Yeah.
Or if you don't need as much.
Yeah.
You know, but
definitely.
again, it's weighing all those things.
Yeah. Do you have?
And I saw these tips.
Okay.
Can I go there with that?
Yes, let's go for it.
And these are tips to help remind us and to motivate or, you know, to whatever.
Yeah.
One is to, and we kind of talked about this right now, record your accomplishments.
Yeah.
Record your achievements. It fills you with confidence to push forward because a lot of times we sabotage ourselves.
Right.
Or, you know, we think, oh, I'm really not that good. But if we look back, or maybe you need somebody to do it with you to help you see, oh, because I had a year of I thought I was in a slump. And I was talking to somebody, they said, Kelly, you've done this, and they named off 4 things that I wrote off.
Yeah.
And I was like, my God, I did do that this year. And I did do that. And I didn't. Boy, I had to push through something that I didn't realize. And then it helped remind me. And it motivated me to go, you aren't a chump after all.
That's my hardest for sure, is recalling things. And like making sure that I give enough value to things that I have accomplished and like done, you know,
Right.
I think a lot of people probably struggle with that, you know, because
Even the small things, because they add up.
they do.
It's not something that has to be on a marquee. It's something that you put your mind to and did.
And definitely oftentimes like family and friends can kind of point those things out for you.
Because we get
so
get
blinded.
lost in our own self, okay? Then share your work. That's the scary part. But if you share it, most likely you get some positive feedback from that.
Right.
And so that again instills, this brings confidence, self-confidence, a little more confidence in what I'm doing.
Yes.
I didn't see, you know, it as good as it was, but these other people did. And sharing your work, sometimes they give you other ideas, right? And helps in the development of that.
Definitely.
And you're connecting.
Yeah.
You're connecting with others. Another one, people aren't going to like this. I'm going to use 2 terms. One is exercise, but the other is just movement.
Oh, yeah.
Exercise is not something everybody likes to hear, but movement is different.
Yeah.
And it's shown that up 150 minutes a week, which is 20 minutes a day,
That's not bad.
boost your dopamine level. And I'm not talking about going and lifting 150 pounds and killing yourself. You know, it's about
Go for a walk.
That helps. And that dopamine is important to our motivation.
It is, yeah.
So
definitely.
getting outside, to me, even getting outside and breathing fresh air is different, right?
For sure.
And prioritize your well-being. Stress decreases our ability to produce that dopamine. Self-care practices, yoga, meditation, a good nighttime routine, something that keeps
you calm.
Yeah, and I think routine is important.
Definitely routine.
That's for me. But set achievement goals and break them down.
Yeah,
Because-
I think that's a big thing is people make these goals and it almost like too, they set goals and then they set them far off. you need smaller goals that have shorter deadlines to like keep you going.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think people overestimate. Yeah.
Deadlines are important to me as my brain works, is that when I know, then that helps me motivate.
Right.
So small and short term are really important.
Yes.
To me, excuse me. Put on, do you have favorite music that you listen to? Sometimes if I go too long without listening to good music, I feel it. I love music.
Yeah.
If you need to get in your car, drive around, and just sing with it, do it. Sometimes that helps. Break up your work schedule to include some of that.
Yeah.
Hobbies, do what you love to do. I like playing the piano, and if I can, when people are out of the house, I'll get on there for 5-10 minutes, and it changes my mood.
Yeah. I think one of my big things when it comes to motivation is you need to come up with like a why. Why am I doing, like, let's take, maybe someone's saying, I want to stay motivated to move every day. Well, why?
Yeah.
Is it, you could say it's for your health. One reason that I move all the time is so that I feel like I can do things in my daily life without struggle. I can walk up, a couple flights of stairs and not be, winded, or I can lift Charles up and be fine. I can run around. And it's like, so that it's like, and so I think motivation, you can be more creative with your whys, and it can have a deeper meaning. Like having a meaning to me of just like, well, I just want to be more fit. I mean, that's a why, but come on, can you make it a little more personal? Or maybe you're, wanting to journal more. Well, why do you want to journal? I want to journal to, I want to keep a record of my life. I want, it's like, have a why and always come back to it. If you lose your motivation, always come back to it. And then the other, and kind of some other stuff that I wrote down, but pretty much that, like we've already talked about, breaking up your goals and then visualizing, how you feel when you get there.
That is really good. The why. Because without that, you're floundering. You got to have something to come back to. What is that drive? What is that? And I think we talked about that in another podcast recently about the why of things.
Yes. And I think, I don't know, maybe that's where you can kind of tie in, spiritual aspects.
Yes.
To, it's for your whys and stuff.
Yeah, because I think that's
important.
Well, I do. I think for me, that spirituality ties into everything.
Yeah.
I think we get into more of that next week with our optimism.
But, yes. Yeah.
But motivation, it's a funny word when you think about, I don't know, what moves you.
Yeah. Or what's your motive?
But it's behind everything.
It is, yeah.
It really is. Yeah. If I'm being ugly to somebody,
what
motivated that? What motivated me to spout off? What motivated? Okay, so there was something within, and it can be positive motivation, it can be negative. And I think that's an important thing to look at.
Yeah.
Why am I doing something?
I like it.
Why? I'm going to do this to get back at this. Well, that is another motivation. Can you turn that into something positive? Doesn't mean you have to release what that is, but there's motivation that is spiteful. There's motivation that I want to contribute positively to myself and to the world.
Definitely.
Because I've done both. That's how often my mother has used to tell me that. But the why. And hopefully we're looking at the positive of bettering ourselves.
Bettering ourselves,
And when we better ourselves, we better the community around us and the world. And I think that's an important thing to think about right now.
Definitely.
With where we are.
So we hope that, like, do you have anything else to add?
No, I was just reading this one line that I had copied down about success doesn't have a finish line. Because every single day there's something new. And I can get to that point, and I've accomplished that goal of a book, we're going to say. We're going to stick with that one. Okay, am I just going to sit and stop?
Yeah. What's the next thing?
What's next?
Yes.
What other area of growth? What else do I want to contribute to myself and to this community and to my family, whatever it may be? So it's kind of interesting that when you practice motivation, then once you've accomplished one thing,
Okay. Yeah, what's next?
Yeah, not that you...
No,
not
that
like
you have to
it's
hurry
like a
into
speeding
it,
car that you're,
Yeah,
let's go,
yeah.
let's go, let's go. You know, it's not like
Yeah.
that. It's, that was wonderful.
And then
I
you
like
almost-
that feeling
you wanna
of
get it again,
accomplishment.
you know?
So what might I want to play that again? What might I want to do?
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, because I think Condoleezza Rice used to, she was
Yes.
played the piano, accomplished. She always had a goal of another piece.
Yeah.
And a little more difficult. And, she may still be doing that to this day, but for years, she always did that. No matter what she was doing, that was something else that she always wanted to accomplish. And I think that was was for her benefit.
Yes. Oh, that was just for her. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So,
Man, love it. Well, hopefully some of our talks on this and hopefully some of our tips will help you as you set some new goals, as you think about how you want to enrich yourself in your life, give you some ways to, when it gets hard, how do you still keep going?
Yeah. So maybe this week, take some time to think about, maybe you're already in the process of doing something. Maybe you've chosen something that you're working on, or maybe there's something, that little nudge inside you calling you to do something. Look at it and say, why? And what's the first small step?
Yeah. Small
Not the
steps
whole of it, but just begin. For me, last week anyway, I looked on the computer for a certain couple classes that I'd like to do.
Yeah.
And so that was my first step, and beginning to register and just to see.
Yeah.
And so it's a small step.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So,
and let us know if you want what you're kind of going towards this year. If there's some other topics you want us to talk about this year, help you in whatever journey you're on. We'd love to, explore it and then hopefully help you guys out.
Yeah.
And then next week we will be, optimism.
Optimism.
Yes. How is it toxic?
Yeah.
What is it? How it can help you as well, kind of set yourself up for a good mindset in this year. Yeah.
Exactly. So we look forward to next week when we take a breath and take a listen.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of An Incomplete Guide to Personal Growth. There are many ways you can stay connected. Follow us on Instagram at An Incomplete Guide Podcast, where you can sign up for our email list and get posts that delve deeper into our weekly topics. Make sure to subscribe to our podcast page wherever you listen to your podcasts. We would really appreciate a rating and sharing us with your family and friends.
We're so glad you chose to spend your time with us, and hope there was a thought, a resource, or a laugh that you can take on your journey. We'll be here every Tuesday for you to take a breath and take a listen.